And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Culp. I'm your host. Hey, thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Happy that you are listening. It's Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025. Hope you're having a good day. As always, we have lots to cover. Serious talk on everything that affects you. We'll do markets, the economy, your job, your industry, and all the crap emanating out of Washington, D.C., and all the good that may be emanating out of Washington, D.C. I got a little bit of that today. See, I'm not always negative on D.C., right? I'll do that in a minute. But first, if you do not get this radio show in your city, we'll post it on GaryK.com. We'll also post it on our X feed. Notice I said X. And on the podcast apps. And if you'd like to email us, just be nice. Very simple. We like nice because we're nice back, unless you like Hamas. Then we're not going to be so nice. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been starting the show every day with the markets. And you guys are very happy with that, and gals. But today, we're going to spend a few minutes on some other things, if it's okay with you. Ozzy passed away. Now, it's not that I am not a Black Sabbath fan, but you know my groove. Yes, Genesis, Rush. Rush, yes, Genesis. Those are my three. Right underneath that is a bunch. Steely Dan, Eagles, Billy Joel, Rolling Stones, Springsteen, Jackson Browne, who I'm going to see soon because I'm not running on empty. I got calls today from friends of mine that left work and went to a bar because Ozzy passed away. When Jerry Garcia passed away from the dead, I have one friend that's seen him 75 times, and I don't know if you know Bill Walton's seen him like 200 times. I know people, when Jerry Garcia passed away, left their families for a week and just flew somewhere and just got away from it. Ozzy has that type, and by the way, we're complimenting these people because of their passion. I'm getting older. Neil Peart passed away for Rush, drummer and songwriter, and they haven't toured again. Glenn Frey of the Eagles passed away at a very young age. Walter Becker of Steely Dan passed away. These are my groups. But Brian Wilson just passed away of the Beach Boys, 82 years old. Sly Stallone of Sly and the Family Stone. By the way, Greg Kihn passed away of the Greg Kihn Band. You know what he sang? I love the Jeopardy, baby. Anyway, we know we're getting older now by our favorites passing away. And it's happening with actors and actresses. You know, Johnny Carson was my favorite. I didn't realize he passed away 20 years ago. I think it was 2006. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because I got calls from friends that are beside themselves, and they knew Ozzy has had dementia. He just did a concert, though, a month ago, and has been health-related. They thought he was dead 5 years ago. I have friends that are beside themselves this afternoon over Ozzy passing away. Oh, and by the way, Phil Collins is never going to tour again. He's very health-ridden, as they say. Anyway, how to start with that? I'm going to compliment DC. And believe it or not, I'm going to compliment Robert Kennedy and Marty McCary. I believe he's the head of the FDA. So it has been well known that the products here have a lot more stuff in them than in other countries. Namely, food dyes and additives and chemicals and all kinds of stuff. Posing the question, what the hell are they doing to us? It is well known that people in Italy eat a lot of pasta and never get fat, but if we eat a lot of pasta, we get fat. It's how it's made, I guess. So I'm going to give kudos today, I can't believe I'm saying this, to Robert Kennedy on this. I've called him a liar on this show because he does lie about the vaccines. But on this, we are going to give him props. And Marty McCary, I will just watch them on TV, FDA commissioner. I've always said to you, how many times have I been on the show and said, do you know if you eat that, you've got to now walk 7 hours to work it off? I've done that quite a few times. And of course, the fast food, and I'm a big believer in individual responsibility, you know that. But man, oh man, some of the things at these places, you literally got to walk 7 hours to work crap off. Anyway, take care of yourselves. Stay healthy. It's the most important part of the equation. You do know that. I don't care how rich you are, how poor you are, how middle class you are, where you live, what you do. If you're not healthy, what the hell? And I know some very young people that are very unhealthy, have bad health. And then you ask, well, I smoke cigs, I drink a lot on the week. Duh. Life is pretty simplistic sometimes, kids. Anyway, I wanted to give a compliment to that because I know I don't compliment DC very much. And frankly, I can spend a couple of shows today blasting DC on some other things, but you know what? We're not going to do that today. We'll just leave that alone. But good on them. And go read up about it. They're going to get a bunch of food dyes and chemicals, and it gives the question, these companies that are making these things, do they just not like us? That they're going to take them out now and it will do better for us? Think about that. Do they just not like us? Oh, yeah, we had this chemical in here and this food dye in here. Oh, we're going to take it out now because we recognize. All right, we'll see how it plays out. We'll stay on top of that, but it's quite telling, don't you think? And by the way, there's kind of like a rush to do all this now. Politics and power do move people, doesn't it? This wouldn't have happened if not for this administration. I'm going to give them kudos. And you know there's a lot of things I don't like about this administration. Oh, and there's some things that I love about this administration, namely the border. Fantastic. If Trump doesn't do another thing right, what he has done on the border, saving lives. Nobody's drowning anymore trying to get over. Nobody's dying in the back of trucks of heat. No kids are being kidnapped anymore and being sold off. Joe Biden should have been impeached just for what he did. Think about that. On purpose, knowing, let all those people in. Come on, and we'll take care of you. Don't worry, everything's fine. Everything's just fine. Up next, the markets, I promise. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. And by the way, just to tell you how much some of these people suck, I'm going to repeat something. Last week, there was a New York Times op-ed. The headline, the title was, "I was one of Biden's border advisors. Here's how to fix our immigration system." So you get this miserable failure of an advisor, and you let him do an op-ed to tell you how to fix the immigration system when this advisor let in 10 million people unabated. Yeah, let's go to the doctor and with a broken left arm, and he puts a cast on your right arm. That's who this guy was. By the way, his name, yeah, we'll give you the name. Guest essay by, his name is Blas Nunes Neto, Assistant Secretary for Border and Immigration Policy at the Department of Homeland Security during Biden's administration. So he worked under Mayorkas, another miserable failure. But don't worry, they're all going to be teachers at colleges and then go speeches for $100,000 a pop. Only in D.C. can these failures. And now let's get to markets. So a couple of things. We always talk about earnings will do this. Great stocks turn to crap. Crap stocks turn great. Sectors that were comatose all of a sudden upside big time. Areas that were strong go bye-bye. Well, first off, full and fair disclosure, about 2 weeks ago, we probed the ITB. It's an ETF, Home Construction Index ETF. It's got housing in it, some of the home construction. We stopped out 4 days later when they were croaking them down to support. And we awaited earnings. Well, let me read to you the earnings today. Pulte Homes, earnings down 15%, revenues down 4%. Their worst quarter in a year. Bear with me. D.R. Horton, earnings down 18%, revenues down 7%. Not their worst quarter, but still earnings and sales down. D.R. Horton was up 17% today, up $22 to $153, as the bottoming process absolutely confirmed today on big volume. Pulte Homes was up 11% today, on 155% of volume, up 12 and change to 121. That ITB was up 7.8% today. Got back all that it lost down to support and more. And the XHB, which is another ETF, the Home Builder Select, was up 5.8%. Classic bottoming process that my mistake was buying on the move up instead of the pullback. And now we'll see what comes of it. We definitively, indubitably have an interest on getting back in. The home builders. And I think there's a combination of things going on there. Number one, interest rates have started to tick lower. Number two is leave no doubt. Next May, Powell's gone. The president is going to put in a puppet, and the president is going to run the central bank via this person. The president wants 1% Fed funds. There's a reason. There's a reason. So in the anticipation of that, just the anticipation, I think that's going on. Now, next May is a long way away, but I'm pretty sure my guess is that the president will announce the next person who won't shut the hell up about Jay Powell. Now, we believe the president is wrong, completely wrong, on Powell as of in real time. And just so you know, we've been his biggest critic. Jay Powell is often just a wee bit, maybe. The 10-year yield closed at 4.33 today. Jay Powell's at 4.25. We think the Fed can be a half point below the 10-year. So he can be a half point below 3.75, but no lower than that. No lower than that. No lower than that. The president would be crazy to go to 1%, and we don't think he will. But you never know with him. Remember Liberation Day? So we think that's what's going on, and we'll see where it goes. Very good day for the home builders, but also a very good day for the broad market. You know what we mean by that. We have this middle screen here, which is the broad market. It's the transports, the airlines, the home builders, the chemicals, the industrials, the insurance, the restaurants, the food and beverage and tobacco, the financials of all stripes, auto dealers, drugs, healthcare, the down-and-out crash managed care, farm machinery, hotels, and the like. Notice we didn't say tech. We call it the stuff. Had a very good day today, led by the home builders. And that's how you get the Dow 179. But the NASDAQ down 81 and the NASDAQ 100 down 116. Weak day for the semis and some of those glamour names. Not sure if it's going to follow through or not. But weekday for the semis. NVIDIA, I'm showing it down $5 totally on the day. And that includes a little after hours. It's a little drop in the after hours. And maybe that's because they're just a little extended. But one that has me a little perplexed is KLAC, one of the stronger equipment makers. Down $46 today, breaking the 21-day moving average. We already know about ASML on their weak earnings, down another 14 today. Micron broke the 50-day moving average today. So a little bit of iffy action there. Up next, we'll stick with the markets. I got other areas to discuss. This is the one only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. So I said to you, good broad market. I want to add in, again, China had a decent day. If you look at the FXI on the verge of breaking out to new highs, that is the ETF that's called the China 50 Index. I mentioned yesterday what we call the Gil Morales pocket pivot in gold. Didn't break out to highs, didn't break out of the 13 weeks, but good move off the 50-day. Well, that was up almost another percent today. The gold miners better than a percent. Actually, the gold miners are up 2%, so they're starting to come on. And gold miners almost broke the highs. Well, intraday it did, but pulled back. And I can tell you there's some gold miners. Let's see, AEM. new yearly high. By the way, some of these report earnings soon. AU, new yearly high. So some gold miners already there. And of course, silver is on the strong side too right now. Broke out at around 32 bucks about 6 weeks ago and is already up about 10%. That's silver. So a lot of moving parts in the market. Keep in mind, in the midst of massive earnings season, and you never know what's going to go good, or Texas Instruments, which closed at 215 today, 198 in the aftermarket. Ew. Intuitive Surgical closed at 511. I got it at 486 in the aftermarket. Again, you just don't know. That's why we never play around. Pegasystems closed at 50 and 51, 42 in the aftermarket. The great SAP software company closed at 306, 294 in the aftermarket. By the way, I did not know these aftermarket numbers. I'm doing that in real time for you. So a few icks in the aftermarket. We'll see what tomorrow brings, but a few icks in the aftermarket as we speak. And tomorrow you get Hilton and Northern Trust and Chicago Mercantile Exchange and Boston Scientific and Freeport McMoran and Amphenol and Google after the close and Chipotle after the close and IBM after the close and Tesla after the close and ServiceNow into the close. Everybody's watching what Tesla's going to do. That's all anybody talks about. What else do I want to bring up from the market today? Netflix. Netflix finished down today $43. You see, it was down 68 bucks on Friday. It was up like 20 something yesterday, and we're thinking maybe this is going to be one of those gaps to the downside that get ignored and turn back up. Rare occasion, but we were in hopes. Down 43 today. See ya. And I think we have mentioned to you, Spotify seems to be in sympathy with Netflix now. That was down 31 bucks today to 675, a 4.5%, breaking the 50-day moving average. So a little cause and effect on Netflix and Spotify. And I got to tell you, I went through Netflix numbers. They didn't look so bad. I think it's just that it's had a good run, I guess. And sometimes even the best news sells off because of how good of a run something has had. That's the name of the game. And again, I just repeated to you, and I didn't even know it. You got a few stocks getting smoked in the aftermarket, and we'll see what that brings tomorrow. I do see Capital One it's only up $2 to 220. That's not going to change any playing field out there. So Texas Instruments, SAP, Pegasystems, Intuitive Surgical, all ick in the aftermarket, and of course that can change overnight. I'm most interested in Texas Instruments, actually, though, because of semiconductors. Let's see, that'll open up a little bit below the 50-day moving average if nothing changes. How's that for the aftermarket report of the day? In real time. Yippee, yay, yay. But overall, besides a lot of green on screen. A lot of green on screen. In the aftermarket, because of Texas, down a little bit. I don't think that's big of a deal. Strength. Banks. I believe I said to you, Citigroup's actually the strongest bank stock right now, up another buck and change today. Second place Bank of New York, only up minuscule. And what have we told you about banks and semis? No chance of bear markets if they are in shape. I've never seen one. And as we've told you, we've studied every bull and bear market. Every one of them. There's a cause and effect, and there's always a reason. The financials used to be number one, but after 2008, they became number two. Semis are one. Financials number two. Is it 100% of the time? No. But I'd say it's in the 90s. And the semis have done the job recently. I doubt Texas Instruments will change that. But you never know. Now, tomorrow, Tesla, I have no clue. The only thing I can tell you about Tesla is all their numbers of selling vehicles, all of them, have been lower year over year in most areas around the globe. And last quarter's sales were down 9% year over year, their worst number, and I can't begin to tell you when. And earnings were down 40%. But it was announced by Elon he's now sleeping at the Tesla headquarters again. And frankly, probably a smart move for that genius. In case you also don't know on Elon, he's got this SpaceX, something called XAI. That's the artificial intelligence. He's got this Neuralink. Have you looked that up? He thinks it's going to be able, I think, blind people no longer blind. People that are paralyzed, he thinks that's can be part of that. Go look up Neuralink. He also had these tunnel things going. I don't know if that's happening. I forgot what that's called. The Boring Company, I think maybe it's called. Believe it or not, I think that was the name of it. Anyway, I think nothing personal because I never met him. Wow. And I'm in complete agreement with him on what he thinks on what they did in D.C. with this latest big, beautiful bill. It was a very big, beautiful scam on you, the investing public. But don't worry. Markets love debt and deficits until they don't. Ten-year yield down another 0.36 to 4.336. Good. The lower, the better. Simple as that. Oil prices down a little bit today. Like to see them much lower. But interesting enough, oil prices, except for one little visit up and two little visits down, it's traded within a 7 to 8% range for the year. For the last year. I don't mind that. Stability. Stability in oil prices and yields is a good thing. Up next, this, that, and the other thing and whatever else. This is the one only Investor's Edge. In other news, so we get a lot of pushback on our feelings on tariffs. And let me repeat, tariffs in certain circumstances will work. It does move the needle. Seriously. If certain food is coming from a different country and you put a tariff on that food, and the reason why that country's food moves better than ours is because they have a lower cost, and that tariff makes it a higher cost to us to get. We may not get there from them anymore and then get it from here. But it's not really an advantage because there's a reason why that food was coming in is because it was a lower cost. So you're hurting actually the consumer here. So let's say it was pretzels. I'm just making something up. Let's say it was $10 a pound. Just making something up. But it came from another country at $8 a pound. Well, you're now going to tariff them to the point where if you brought it in here, you're now paying 10. So you can now buy it from here. The production is here, and you don't get it from there. But what are you doing? You're screwing the consumer here because they're now going to pay more, if not. But the goal, I guess, is to have it done here. So just letting you know. And some things make absolutely no sense whatsoever in tariffs. Trump just announced a trade deal with the Philippines. Get this. We're going to lower the tariffs that their citizens pay to buy our goods from 6% to 0%. But the president is now raising the tariffs we pay to buy their goods from 10 to 19. I'm sorry, the president is arse backwards on these tariffs. But he's so into this, they're paying the debt. It's going to the Treasury. And last month was $20 billion. He's so into that. Let me just state for the record, he better not overdo that. I think we'll be able to get away with low tariffs. I don't think we're going to be able to get with high. And that's why they did the pause. And now we're hearing August 1st is going to be August 15th on the 30s, 40s, and 50s. We'll see. Crypto. PNC Bank now is going to partner with Coinbase to offer crypto services. Schwab is also doing that now. I have a question. The last bear market in Bitcoin was 75%. Are they even considering that happening ever again? Just a question. And I heard, was it Emirates Airlines are going to take Bitcoin? We'll see. Just some food for thought. And since I got asked about this Stephen Colbert, as I said yesterday, I think I'm a Carson guy, and I really haven't watched late night. But he's now whining and complaining, and the left is whining and complaining. But we're hearing the show is losing $40 million each year. And part of that, he was making $16 million a year. God bless him. We don't begrudge that. But you're losing $40 million, and you're complaining about the company that is losing that $40 million. I'm sorry, I can't agree. I think they've been looking in the mirror too much, thinking they're so important because they're celebrities. But I don't know about you, but losing $40 million should have his butt canned, right? They're complaining about, they say it's Trump that's doing it, and okay. According to them, Trump caused the Chicago fire and the San Francisco earthquake also. And by the way, I spent 1 week watching Colbert's monologue. 98% of his monologue was putting down Trump. Just letting you know. Carson never touched it. Just letting you know. And that's a little bit of entertainment news for you, because I get people asking me about all these things. By the way, financials matter. You lose $40 million in a year. Why? The dumber question is, or the smarter question, Why were they keeping him on as long as they did? Think about that. 40 million. And by the way, Stephen Colbert did not disavow the 40 million. Yet they're complaining. Last but not least, and I don't know if we have time, but Ben Bernanke and Janet Yellen did an op-ed in the New York Times yesterday about the Fed must be independent. Ground zero and ground one, two numbskull heads of the Feds, that starting with Bernanke, who started the printing of money and said, don't worry, it won't last long, wrote an op-ed. Will it be like the idiot who ran Biden's immigration policy doing an op-ed? I don't know. I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to read it tonight, and I'll report back to you tomorrow. As you know, we don't think the Fed should be independent. We don't think there should be a Fed. I'd like somebody to please email me and tell me what they do for us that benefits us. In case you don't know, the Fed printed to $9 trillion, caused distortions, and they're losing about $500 million on that, for starters. We'll discuss tomorrow. You have a good evening. Drive carefully. When you get home, do like we do. It's quite simple. Make sure you hug your family. Make sure you hug your children. They will feel better. You will feel better. I promise. Stay well. Be well. I'm on radio, and I'm watching my little and he's smiling at me, my grandson. Have a great one, everybody. Good night.